welcome to the studio. My name is Allison Jensen and I'm the owner of Orange Easel School of Art here in the Kansas City metro area. And today I want to talk to you about your young artists who are just getting into using scissors and give you some tips on the scissors that we use and what we cut with them in order to really develop those skills. So I posted yesterday on our Facebook page about the different options that we have when it comes to scissors. So I want to show you what those look like. And then here at the end of the video, I'll show you my best tip for keeping that thumb up, right? Because it's really easy for them to flip it over, and you see a lot of your kids cut like this. So if you've got a preschooler at home who has a habit of doing that, we're going to talk about it. Don't worry. First off, I want to show you these scissors. We posted about these a couple times, but these ones here, and they make them in all different brands. These are Colorations just because that's the place we order from. The Colorations brand, this is a no blade scissor. If you can see that, it's just all plastic. There's no metal blade on it. It doesn't cut hair. It doesn't cut skin. It's not sharp. But what it does cut really, really well is Play-Doh. So if you've got, say, 2-year-olds at home, or even 1-year-olds that are really into the scissors and they really want to play with them as a toy, this is the one you get. Because you can leave it like completely unsupervised. I mean, they might pinch themselves, I guess, if you really try hard, but it's pretty hard. And then the best thing to cut with these is the Play-Doh. So I've rolled here a little, we got some light pink Play-Doh from a princess party. I've got a little Play-Doh snake here, and you can see if I just take it and I can snip it into little pieces. That is a great first cutting. What you'll find with the young ones is they don't quite have this motion yet. And so they'll do this, but that's okay. I can take my Play-Doh as it's down here on my tray, and I can cut it like this with 2 hands. Snip, 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 and it cuts it into little bits. So don't discourage this if that's what your kids are doing, and if they want you to hold whatever you're cutting and they want to do this, that's okay. Eventually they'll get to using 1 hand, all right? You can also cut Play-Doh as a pancake, so I've put it into a pancake, and these scissors do really well for cutting. We can cut ourselves a little spiral into a pancake, okay? So definitely Play-Doh and no blade scissors, those are your first step with our young cutters, and they start to develop this motion with it. The next one, oh, I should mention, these do cut paper. They don't cut paper real well, but they do cut paper, and I've got some construction paper here that I've done into strips, and it will actually cut it. See? The problem with these is because it doesn't have a blade, it's more likely that it'll actually just, if they don't get it perfectly perpendicular to the paper, if their scissors are a little bit turned, all it does is just hold it in its mouth. You have to get it just right, which is not the best scenario for young cutters. So although these will work for paper, they don't work for paper for beginner cutters unless a parent is holding the paper for them, okay, to get it all lined up. The other kinds of scissors that we posted about that are maybe a little bit more specialty are these spring-loaded scissors. So these are ones that, the child can just focus on the down motion, and the scissors themselves will open back up because there's a spring. So if we push this down, the spring here in the middle is what opens the mouth back up. So they can do the chomping, and then the opening of the mouth, the scissors do on their own. There's another one here that does the same thing. They're almost like snips. If you've ever worked with young kids for cutting, and they're cutting something that is a bigger piece of paper, and they get one snip in, but then they're kind of stuck, and they don't know how to move it again, we usually say open the mouth. We talk a lot about this being a mouth, right? Open, close, chomp. So these types of scissors are a great transition for the kids that are ready to do multiple snips on a piece of paper because it will do the opening for them. So we posted a link for those as well if you're looking for those. And then these are just your basic safety scissors that you can pretty much find anywhere. So they're that one's got a sharp tip to it. We like the ones with sharp tips, but you can also get the ones with the blunted or the round tips. Okay, so we got 2 of those. The safety scissors, they are sharp. They will cut hair, they will cut skin, they do snip, so you just want to be careful with those. Our rules with scissors usually are just don't run. Stay in your seat and don't run with scissors. And then, that's a pretty basic one. So let me talk to you about things that we cut where kids can be successful with. I'll move this off to the side. Your early cutters, your ones that are just learning how to use scissors, a great thing to cut are straws because it's basically more like snipping than it is actually cutting something out. Because the hardest part of cutting is that multiple motion of moving the paper as well as moving the scissors, because now we're doing two hands. But this one, it's one snip, and you just take it and you cut it. They kind of fly everywhere, right? So we can snip. Can you hear it? It's very satisfying. Snip all of our little straws. The same thing with a piece of strip of paper. So if you cut cardstock or heavier duty construction paper, they can snip that. For a bigger sheet of paper, you can encourage them to do fringing, where they actually fringe across the edge of it, and they can be successful with that. Actually cutting out a shape, that's pretty advanced. So these are for early cutters. Once you get your straws cut, I would encourage you, don't throw them away, because they're really cool to use for beading. I've got a little beading tray. You can't see it because it's so bright, but you can see my tray's got all my little straw pieces in it. It's almost like a macaroni necklace that we've made. A little bit of threading going on there. So that's a fun little station to do after you've snipped them, is you can keep them for beads. Let's talk about those kids that cut upside down, shall we? I know this is frustrating for parents. You hand them a pair of scissors and the first thing they do is flip it like this and they try to cut like this. And we all know it's supposed to be like this. Okay? So thumbs on top, pinky on the bottom instead of like this and across. One of the best things you can do is take a look at where your child is cutting. I know at the studio a lot of times we're using tables that maybe they're sitting on the stool or on the chair, but the table is chest high to them. And so if you think about it, I'm going to turn sideways so you can see me. If my table is here, this kind of motion, in order to get the thumb on top, I have to really turn. It's a lot more comfortable for me to do this, right? Because my table is here. So I have to cut up here because they're little kids and you've got this table that's up here and you're trying to let them cut and you keep saying, turn your thumb over, turn your thumb over. And they're like, I can't. I don't move at that angle because I'm up here. Okay, so either get them at a kid-sized table where their paper is below their belly button, because I'm much more likely to turn my thumb on the top if I'm, right? My thumb on top down here is so much better than up here. I'm going to flip it if I'm up here. Down here, I'm not going to flip it. That's weird. So if I cut below my belly button, it's more likely that I will have my thumb on top and have that open web space hand. I'm not cutting sideways. I'm not cutting upside down because I'm down here on the floor. So get onto the floor or get onto a low table when you're cutting with young kids. The other thing you can do as a tip, you can find a sticker. I use a dark color so you can see. And you can actually take a sticker and put it right on their thumb and make sure they can see the sticker when they're cutting. You can also draw a design if you've got a washable marker and you want to draw a little star on their thumb or something so they see this part of their hand as they're cutting. Right? So if I'm doing some cutting here, if I can see the sticker, then I know I've got it right. If I'm doing some cutting like this, I can't see the sticker anymore. So your correction as a parent or as a teacher is, oh, where'd your sticker go? Oh, there it is. And then I correct. As opposed to telling them that they were doing it wrong, make it a game and make it a challenge where they could actually see their sticker. And then make sure you set them up for success where they're cutting below the chest, maybe even below the belly button so it's more comfortable for them. Okay? I hope that helps with all of these resources. If you ever have questions about tools that we're using in the art studio or invitations that we set up to encourage this kind of development, please reach out to us. We would love to answer your questions. I hope to see you guys in the studio soon.